and how we carry ourselves. And we have to understand this as we go forward, because my concern is when we stand up and the microphones are rolling, the cameras are on, we make very poor assessments. Yes, sir. See, it's right there. So I can't be outdone by the governor's story. But I'll close with this. I was campaigning down in southern Charles County, the heart in southern St. Mary's County, the heart and soul of my opponent. And I went into a bar called Toots Bar. It's how all Americans come together. And my wife went with me. And Governor, when I hopped out of my car with my wife, we were greeted by a nice Confederate flag flying in the back of Toots Bar. So my wife looked at me and she said, "Are you sure we're in the right place?" I said, "Honey, we absolutely are. Let's go in. This is where the rubber meets the road. Blue-collar Democrats, let's go appeal because we have more in common than what separates us." Walked into the bar, and I kid you not, the music stopped. It's like something off a television show, and I looked around, and Louis, I got a little nervous, and my wife, I noticed she had tightened up her grip on my hand a little bit, and got a little close to my shoulder. I went to the bar, and I said, "Well, where's the owner?" Owner's name was a guy named Ray. I went over and grabbed Ray and sat down and talked with him, shared a beer with him. I said, "Ray, take me around this entire bar. I want to meet everybody in here." He said, "You sure? You want to meet everybody here?" I said, "I want to meet everybody here, Ray. These are my constituents. These folks are going to vote for me. Take me around. Let's go." So we went around to that bar, and I'll be honest with you, it was a little shaky at first, but we made our way through that entire bar. 75, 80 people came back to our seats and sat down. And one by one, they started coming up and buying me drinks. One woman walked up to me and said, "I'm going to vote for you just because you had enough nerve to come in here." One gentleman, though, this is the comment I want to share with you. One gentleman sat down next to me. His name was Christian. Not to. And he looked at me and he said, "Charles, you know what? I like what you stand for." And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't with you at first, but I like what you stand for. When you started talking, it resonates with me. We can't keep spending this money. He said, "I'm not the smartest guy, but I like what you're saying. And I tell you what, I'm going to help deliver this county for you over City Court." He said, "I'm going to be sure that we raise you a ton of money." And those folks did. We had a fundraiser, Mike, just after that at the bar, and they raised for us just over $1,000 and a biker poker one, which I never heard about, but I pretended like I did. So Chris looks at me and he says to me, "Charles, but one thing, I want you to remember this, because you are in southern St. Mary's County, in Calvert County, and Charles County. Many of these folks are the same way." He says, "You got to remember something. You got to talk about the policies and stick to them. And you got to speak loud, because just in case you didn't know, you're a black guy." I said, "Rosa, did you know?" My wife, "Did you know I was a black guy?" No, I'm just kidding, but the point is relevant to this. As I go to my seat, we have more as Americans in common than we do that's different. Let's message the message properly. Let's speak it properly. Let's show people what it means to be American. And we're at a point right now in our country where truly this is not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's an American thing, and we're going to fight for our country.
We have time for a few questions. We are not too far behind schedule. As you can see, I do stand at the point of my watch and try and move along on time. But anyway, suggestions, questions, opinions. Let me start over here with one of our other candidates.
I don't need the microphone.
All right.
Charles, I am very proud of you. My name is Bill Hudak. And I am telling you that everything Charles just said is absolutely true. I can tell you that Massachusetts is not lost, and everything he says about standing up and being a winner is what the people want to hear. They want more than the conservative values. They want people who will champion those values and will not say, "I'm running for Congress and if I win." They want people who say, "When I win." I am not running for Congress. I will be the next congressman. You three, And Mark Zakaria and I, and everyone else running for an office needs to stand up and stand strong and be the leaders that the people are looking for. So that's my comment, and I will not ask any questions because I think Charles said it all. And
we have time for a few more questions, comments. Can anybody top that? Anybody speak better than Charles did?
My name's Anton Rivera. I'm chairman from Middletown, and I just want to say that since the Republican Party took control of Congress in '94, that up to that time they've been losers. They've been in second place for so long that when they finally became winners, they didn't know how to act like it. Well, there's 3 gentlemen up here that know how to act like winners, and a few more in this room that I'm proud to have met today and this weekend. And all I can say is, there's at least 3 men, and Charles, questions I had, you answered, and that's the way we have to act. Start acting like winners. Thank you.
Now, I hope you're all a little more optimistic about 2010.
Mr. Chairman, we've just heard 3 exceedingly qualified candidates. And before you leave this weekend, it would be nice if we wrote a check to each one of them. Doesn't have to be one.
I'll be right back. We have one other congressional candidate in the room, and I did want to let him have the microphone.
Thank you, Lewis, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I would just say that what we've heard today is a clear description of how the commitment of your candidates for Congress is going to be the spearhead of a movement towards taking back that body. I think that what you're going to see from these candidates, and I hope from me, is the kind of leadership that'll make everybody else commit. Because unless we get into this together, it's not going to happen. But as Bill Hudak has just told us, when we do, we cannot fail. And like him, I know we won't. Thank you.
John Joe from Massachusetts, and I just wanted to remind you all that when the snow is blowing in January and you're getting ready for that Super Bowl, there's going to be an event that's even bigger than that. And that's when Scott Brown gets elected senator from Massachusetts in place of Kennedy, who is responsible for this medical mess that we are in. And I promise you that we in Massachusetts are going to stand up, and you will not see that we're the laughing stock. You're going to hear more about the grassroots that are going on here at this convention in Massachusetts, and we will not be the laughing stock of this country.
That we can actually have them answer. I love the comments. It's a question period.
My question is to Representative Laughlin. My name is Will Souza Graffentine. I'm also a candidate for state representative. But your opponent recently said that he was afraid to hold a town hall meeting because it would incite quote-unquote violence. What is your response to that, and how do you hope to combat such divisive rhetoric?
Thanks, Will. First of all, I think running for General Assembly, that's great that he's doing it. Give him a round of applause. He knows we need more help up there. You know, I think the proof's in the pudding. We held a town hall meeting, and it wasn't the least bit violent. It was actually, and Justin, again, you were there. Did you see any violence of any kind at all? I mean, we got a little heated. We had some questions, and we had some people shouting. But healthcare and nationalizing, 1/6 of the U.S. economy tends to bring out passions in people, and so that's to be expected. But there simply was no violence. I mean, these are your constituents, Congressman. You should listen to them occasionally, and that's what we tried to provide. So I think it's unfounded. It just doesn't happen. At least it doesn't happen in Rhode Island's 1st Congressional District.